Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. Thank you everyone for coming to this program this evening. In our weekly programs, based on the unedited, unchanged books of Srila Prabhupada when he originally produced them back in his time with us, which is known as the Vani incarnation. This Vani incarnation is the proper insight that we need to connect with Krishna, because you connect with Krishna through the association of the pure devotee spiritual master. And this is the mystery of devotional service that's been lost in a very short time since Prabhupada's departure from the mortal plane in November 1977. There are two manifestations of our spiritual master. One is Vapu and the other is Vani. Vapu means personal association. And Vani means his words and instructions, his sound vibration. He reasons ill that say that Vaishnavas die when thou are living still in sound. The Vaishnava dies to live, and living tries to spread the holy name around. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and his followers live with him. That's all of us. Anyone that deviates from this understanding becomes disconnected from the disciplic succession. Prabhupada often told us it was better to serve him in separation, to serve his mission. Those that did so became enlightened, and those that didn't all often fell down to familiarity. Many of them were domestic servants of Srila Prabhupada, cooking, cleaning, carrying his luggage, etc. But to see your spiritual master as an ordinary human being is a great offense and destroys one's devotional creeper, sending this offender into a life of illusion and mental speculation. Yes. The false ego is a tiger of deceit for the aspiring student of spiritual life. The mouse becomes a tiger by the grace of the guru. Then he decides to let me eat my guru, and then guru makes him a mouse again. It is a rare soul that can understand the position of the bona fide spiritual master. Those born into demoniac families may have trouble overcoming their deficiencies for understanding the transcendental science of Krishna consciousness from a bona fide teacher. So we all come from Low birth, in a sense, here in the West especially, all raised as meat eaters and other things. Thus, so many devotees, even though they've taken initiation, have given up the process and position as surrendered disciples, and therefore lost their spiritual connection with their guru. And we're seeing that every day. Especially, I was talking to Yashodanandana Prabhu. There's a lot of postings by different devotees online, especially in the Facebook group. A lot of people use that as a media to spread their so-called understanding of our philosophy. But within their words, they reveal a real lack of understanding of this philosophy. And some of them, they don't even mention Prabhupada, even though they're recognized as great devotees. They don't even mention their guru. Recently, I saw a picture of someone, and they were sitting in front of their book table, and they weren't selling one Prabhupada book. They were selling their own books, some kind of concocted philosophy on Vrindavan pastimes. A third-class person writing pastimes of Krishna as if they're one of the 6 Goswamis. What a unfortunate, chaotic situation has emerged due to deviation. Oh yes. It doesn't go without reaction, by the way. I was just mentioning to my godbrother, Yashodanandana Prabhu, there was one godbrother of ours, he's living in Mayapur now. I looked at him, he was quoting this and that and speaking with all this pomp and authority, but he looked really old. I found out that he fell and hurt his hip, and now he's stuck in a wheelchair. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. But this is the situation, especially a lot of Western devotees. They appear to become overwhelmed by their own so-called intellect and their so-called seniority. I'm a senior devotee. I was with Prabhupada in the early years. I know better than everyone else. Listen to me. Still listen to them. This type of false ego is very unfortunate. And as a result, they're misleading people. And chaos has come, not only in the ISKCON world, but also on the outside, as they call the fringies. All these other groups of preachers that are representing themselves as Ritviks or Prabhupada-nugas, etc. We are not Ritviks. We use a Ritvik system. If there is someone qualified to get initiated, we'll use that system so we can continue the mission with Prabhupada disciples. But we are Prabhupada disciples, period. That's our position. Whether you're initiated back in the 60s or you're initiated this year, everyone is a Prabhupada disciple, and they're judged by how they serve and surrender to the mission of Lord Caitanya, not by so-called seniority. Oh, I was with Prabhupada. I know everything. And so many people are proving to be fools of the first order. Yes, of the first order online, and they're exposing it in their writings. Some devotees even thought after they had taken initiation, had given up the process and a position as surrendered devotees, and therefore lost their spiritual connection with their guru. So it's not automatic. Prabhupada was focused in producing a large volume of material and instructions for his disciples in the event of his departure from this earthly plane. He was always conscious of his mortality. He had suffered 2 heart attacks. On his initial journey to the West, which we'll read in the diaries coming up, he understood the frailties of human existence, not like many of us. That is why he presented the Krishna books in the early 70s in case of an untimely departure. No one knows when we will die. He went on a marathon with his disciples to present the Caitanya Charitamrita for humanity, and we're reading those every week on Wednesday nights and enjoying them immensely, by the way, all of us. He never wasted his time like many of us do in trivial matters, but with great enthusiasm, he took up the order of his spiritual master with great enthusiasm and determination to present Krishna consciousness to the Western-speaking countries initially and then throughout the world. So he deputed different people that he was enlisting to go out and continue this process of spreading Krishna consciousness. Even though they were in a neophyte stage, he still asked them, just repeat what I've explained to you without any change, without any adulteration. And this is the mercy of the spiritual master upon all of us, that we still have this opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness by repeating exactly what he taught us without any adulteration or change. And this is the essence of this movement, the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association, that we're all joined together in protecting Prabhupada's legacy without any adulteration. So I'm going to go ahead. We're having a wonderful time reading this Jaladuta diary. And let's turn to that now. We'll see a picture of Prabhupada here sitting in front of the Delhi, I think he's in Delhi, India. There he is. Srila Prabhupada sitting out at his room at the Radhakrishna Temple, 2439 Chippiwada Colin in Old Delhi before leaving for America. In front of them are the first 3 volumes of his English Srimad Bhagavatam, the Delhi Bhagavatams. So look at that, how serious he is. And we're so fortunate to have this photograph that was captured of him. We can see and historically see the books in front of him. And by the way, we want to thank everyone that donated money to our GoFundMe campaign to reprint and republish these books, because Prabhupada was very interested in preserving this literature for the benefit of humanity moving into the future. And that is our mission. So we'll go to April 7th, Wednesday, that's 1965. Yeah, April 8th, excuse me. There we are, April 8th. Now, I want everyone to note here, so Prabhupada got this diary, and so he was just getting used to using the diary. And as we continue to read through the diary, we're going to notice the changes in the diary as he goes through his journey up into 1966. So we're going to read both books, the Jaladuta diary in the beginning, where he continued on with his diary. And then after that, he became ambitious to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And he was working in real time, and he had all kinds of tasks that are not recorded in the diaries, but great insight into this. So we see on Thursday the 8th at 12 noon, he was going to Sri Paramanta's house for a dinner to dine and preach. On Friday the 9th of April, 8:30 to 9 a.m., Sri B.V. Murthy, number 5, Button Lodge, behind Aurora Cinema, King Circle. At 1:30 to 2 p.m., Sri T.K. Sesdati, news editor, Economic Times, Times of India at VT. So he's making important appointments. He had no movement. He was moving himself, but he was pushing forward. So like that, the more we can independently move ahead like this and spread our mission in our local areas, the better it is. Sunday, the 11th at 9 a.m., invitation at Malad Laka Shankar's house. And then on the 12th, to see Gandhi, Somaya, Inter, Wilson, Colonel, Gulab Chand Kapadia. Look at the way you can't see the writing. Different sort of script there. And on the April 13th, to see the father, principal, at 10 to 11 at St. Xavier's. On Thursday, the 15th, to see Gandhi's secretary, Bet, 11 to 1 p.m. So very ambitious, think about it, Prabhus. He's coming from Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. He's going back and forth, trying to get these books printed. And he's, along with that, he's trying to reach the biggest people in India, where there's 1 billion people. He's progressively trying to engage them. On Wednesday, the 21st, he has his things to do list here to unpack the books. Sri Ram Krishna, Banking Corporation, Nagaram, and Buckkull. On the Thursday, the 29th. So going through the pages, he's moving quickly, you see. So we're on Thursday, the 29th. So he's got another appointment, a principal at St. Xavier's Institution of Education, Bombay. And they kept one set, so he's selling books. He's on this mission of distributing the Bhagavatams. He knows what he's doing in terms of book distribution. The value of it is for other people to read it. And this way he's hoping to recruit people into the work, even back then, before he was on the boat to America. And we have Sunday, May 2nd. Thank you. Kanakya met at Vile Parley at his house. He kept one set of books with all literatures to decide in 4 to 5 days. He gave me some addresses of friends to be seen. Very interesting. So this is a principle called referral. So he was using referral as a system to get to other people in his networking approach. And he's selling books simultaneously. On Tuesday, the 4th, to see Mr. C. Rall of Indochem Limited, 221 Dadabay Navad Rojji Road, Bombay, after 11. Books kept at house by servant Sanjit. So another set going out. And on Thursday, the 6th, to see Seti Indochem, 2 to see Choski Deshai, 3 to see Somanji, 4 to see Bank and Prem Kutir, and Mafatlal was a big businessman in India. And 5 to see Jamandas, if possible, and 6, if possible, see Pratap Singh. So just see all that. That's like 6 appointments he's trying to set up. So very ambitious here. Did I do May 10th, Prabhu? Do we have May 10th, or is that the last page? I guess we did. So that's as far as we're going to get today. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to the program. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then by Srila Prabhupada, and then the reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu from California. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Gopal ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktamani ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू देयर सिंह और ग्लोरी टू देयर सिंह थैंक यू वेरी मच
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. This reading is conducted on the basis of the original 1974-1975 non-adulterated, non-revised, non-interpolated version, the original version of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, with all synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, from text 18-22 of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, explaining the meaning and the benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Caitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. From Adi Lila 118. He tina Thakur Gadiya ke karye chenayatma sat. He tinera charana bandhan tire morenat. These 3 deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. 120. Grante Rarambi Karimangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text 21. Tinera Smarane Ayu Vigna Vinashana Anayasaya Nijavanchita Purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text 22. Se mangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesa shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved 3 processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our reading. This week we will be reading from the Adi Lila, chapter 4, text number 256. Lila ante sukeyin harangeram maduri, tahadiki sukeyami apana pashari. Lila ante, at the end of our pastime, suke, in happiness, in hara, of Srimati Radharani, Angera, of the body, Madhuri, sweetness, Taha, that, Deki, seeing, Suke, in happiness, Ami, I, Apana, myself, Pashari, forget. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Seeing the luster of our complexion after our pastimes together, I forget my own identity in happiness. Text 257. Donhar ye samaras bharata muni mane, amara braje rasa seha nahi jane. Donhara, of boat, ye, whatever, samarasa, equal mellows. Bharata Muni, the saintly person named Bharata Muni. Mane, accepts. Amara, my. Vrajera, of Vrindavana. Rasa, mellows. Seha, he. nahi, not, jane, knows. Translation. The sage Bharata said that the mellows of lover and beloved are equal, but he does not know the mellows of my Vrindavana. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to expert sexologists like Bharata Muni, both male and female enjoy equally in material sexual pleasure, but in the spiritual world, the relationships are different, although this is unknown to mundane experts. Text 258. Anyera sangame amiyata sukapai, tahai terada suka shata adikai, anyera others. Sangame by meeting, ami I, yata all, sukha happiness, pai get, tahaoete then that, radha sukha happiness by association with Radharani, shata 100 times, adikai increased. Translation. The happiness I feel when meeting Radharani is 100 times greater than the happiness I get from meeting others. Text 259. Nirdutamrita madhuri parimala kalyani bhimbadaro vaktram pankajasorabham kuharita shlaga bidastigiraha angam chandala shitalam tanuriyam sondarya sarvasvabak Tvamasadyamamedam indriyaskulam radimuhurmodate. Nirduta defeats Amrita of nectar, Madhuri the sweetness, Parimalaha whose flavor, Kalyani O most auspicious one, Bimba adaraha red lips, Vaktram face, Pankaja sorabham, which smells like a lotus flower, Kuharita of the sweet sounds made by the cuckoos, Shlaga the pride, Bidaha which defeat, Te your, Giraha words, Angam limbs, Chandala shitalam as cool as sandalwood pulp, Tanuhu body, Iyam this, Saundarya of beauty, Sarabasrabaka which displays the all in all, Tvam you, Asadya tasting, Mama my, Idam this, Indriyakulam all the senses, Radhi O Srimati Radharani, Muhu again and again, Modate become pleased. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My dear auspicious Radharani, your body is the source of all beauty. Your red lips are softer than the sense of immortal sweetness. Your face bears the aroma of a lotus flower. Your sweet words defeat the vibrations of the cuckoos, and your limbs are cooler than the pulp of sandalwood. All my transcendental senses are overwhelmed in ecstatic pleasure by tasting you, who are completely decorated by beautiful qualities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse, spoken by Lord Krishna to Radha, is recorded in the Lalita Madhava of Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 260. Rupe kam saharasya lubdanayanam sparshe rishyat tvacham vanyam utkalita shrutim parimare samrishta nasaputam arajyadrasanam kiladhara pute nyanchan mukhan bhoruham dambhu girna mahadritam bahirapi prodyad vikarakulam. Rupe in the beauty, Kamsaharasya of Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, Lubda captivated, Nayanam, whose eyes, Sparshe, in the touch, Atirishyat, very much jubilant, Tvacham, whose skin, Vanyam, in the vibration of the words, Utkalita, very eager, Shrutim, whose ear, Parimale, in the fragrance, Samrishta, stolen by happiness, Nashaputam, whose nostrils, Arajyat, being completely attracted, Rasanam, whose tongue, Kila, what to speak of, Adharapute, to the lips, Nyanchat, bending down, Mukha, whose face, Ambaharuham, like a lotus flower, Damba, by pride, Udgirna, manifesting, Mahadritim, great patience, Bahihi, externally, Api, although, Prodyat, manifesting, Vikara, transformations, Akulam, overwhelmed. Translation: her eyes are enchanted by the beauty of Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa. Her body thrills in pleasure at his touch. Her ears are always attracted to his sweet voice. Her nostrils are enchanted by his fragrance, and her tongue hankers for the nectar of his soft lips. She hangs down her lotus-like face, exercising self-control only by pretense. But she cannot help showing the external signs of her spontaneous love for Lord Krishna. Purport. Thus Srila Rupa Goswami described the countenance of Radharani. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadate Vihi Visheshataha Adadhana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here we see that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the celebrated author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, is giving a very detailed, vivid description of the relationship between Lord Krishna and Radharani. These are very elevated spiritual topics which can only be understood by hearing from proper sources, by hearing from proper authorities. There are many different persons, different scholars, different Babajis, different Goswamis, the various kinds of devotees who engage in the discussion of the pastimes of Radha Krishna. But in order to understand the facts and the truth about the activities and the pastimes of Radha Krishna, want us to hear from a bona fide acharya, from an authorized, bona fide, empowered acharya. Otherwise, it is very easy to be misled. We see in the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was getting ready to start his tour of South India, Vasudeva Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya recommended to him to meet with Ramananda Roy. And he was explaining to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was a great devotee, even though he was just acting in a mundane role as the governor of a Madras of that time. We do know from reading of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met with Ramananda Roy, and there was some very elevated discussion. It's called Ramananda Samvad, the discussion with Sri Ramananda Roy. And the ultimate recommendation, which was accepted and confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after Ramananda Roy presented so many different alternatives for different paths of spiritual advancement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept telling him, speak more, describe more. But when he recited that one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Stanistitaha Shritigatantanuvan Manubhir, Ye Praya Sajito Ajiapita Strilokyam, that one should remain in whatever position one may be and hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, gradually one will be able to conquer the unconquerable. In Sanskrit, one of Krishna's name is named Ajita. Ajita means that no one can conquer Krishna. But by this process of hearing from proper sources, Krishna can become from Ajita to Jita, can be conquered. One can obtain the favor and the mercy of Krishna. Now, why do we keep belaboring on this point several times? Because it is very important. First of all, in the same Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he was having a discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the nature of bhakti, he tried to change a word of the Srimad Bhagavatam from Mukti Pade to Bhakti Pade. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, you cannot change. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be changed. In other words, all the various words of the original Srimad Bhagavatam, the original teachings, can only be understood by hearing from proper authority. This is also described in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyete katita yartaha prakashanti mahatmanaha. That for those who have firm faith in the bona fide acharya and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to them all the imports and meaning of the Vedic literatures are revealed. Prakashante mahatmanaha. This word is given there. Prakashanta, it is revealed. Now, Srila Prabhupada wrote extensively in his various purports, various lectures, various conversations, so many thousands of letters, overall, so many different lectures on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. But the message is repeatedly given, the same message is given. To learn to submissively hear from the Acharya. Just today, I was reading on Facebook a quotation from a very nice devotee in Vrindavan, where Srila Prabhupada was expressing, you have to learn to hear. You have to learn to hear. Very important point. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna in the 18th chapter, after he had described the entire verses of Bhagavad Gita. He's telling Arjuna, he's not forcing Arjuna, He's not demanding Arjuna should surrender. He's not trying to force Arjuna. He's telling Yatayat Chasi Tata Kuru, O descendant of Kuru, you deliberate on this and do what you choose to do. Krishna does not force. The living entity has its own independence, just like in the government. The government is not going to force you to go live in the prison, but if you behave like a criminal, like a rapist, like a thief, like an arsonist, like a criminal, well, the result is going to be that you may end up in prison. Thanks, Guru the Prabhu, pointing out that the verse was from Bhagavad Gita 1863. Now, the point is, although Arjuna had the independence to choose, Krishna is giving the independence to choose. He's warning him, but if you act on false ego, you will be lost. And this has been practically seen. It has been practically observed that even though some devotees got so much direct, personal, living association with the Acharya, so many of them did not hear the knowledge. They did not heed the warnings. They did not patiently and submissively hear the message that was given. Due to the influence of false ego, they concocted. They started to change the instructions. They started to disobey the instructions. They started to invent various ways and means of so-called preaching Krishna consciousness, which proved to be a complete disaster. This is the result of Gurur Avagnya, disobedience of the order of the spiritual master. We know from so many different lectures that Prabhupada gave at the time of initiation, where Prabhupada would read the 10 offenses and explain the 10 offenses against the holy name, against Harinama. And one of these offenses is to disobey the instruction of the spiritual master. And we see that 46, 47 years after Srila Prabhupada departed, some devotees, even though they may be very senior, very scholarly, very experienced in various ways, are still struggling with a fertile imagination, with inventing different interpretations that have nothing to do with the order of the spiritual master, manufacturing different interpretations that are nowhere supported by Srila Prabhupada's direct instructions, specifically in the last few months of his manifested presence. This has been seen so many times. We saw in 1978 our certain individual who, although he had so much association, direct personal association with Srila Prabhupada, started to invent some idea that you people should just accept us just like the Pandavas accepted Maharaj Yudhishthira as the elder brother. You should not be envious. So the first question that came up is the appropriateness of this example. You mean to say that you're now on the level of the 5 Pandavas, direct associates of Krishna, direct Nitya Lila Parshadas, direct eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You're now on that level? This is the result of defective thinking, of lack of proper hearing. One should always remember his position and never thinks that he is either liberated or an eternal associate of Krishna. This kind of nonsense sahaja idea should be avoided. Very dangerous idea. Anybody can think and jump on a trampoline and imagine that they're dancing with Krishna, they're taking prasadam with Krishna, or that they're an eternal liberated soul. That's nice. That's a nice pious belief, and it may be fact. For all that we know, it may be a fact. But the reality is that those who are personal associates of Krishna, when they come to this world, they do not become debauchees and deviants and sexual mongers and embezzlers. No, they do not. They exhibit the highest character, always situated in perfect transcendence, and never deviate from the path of great authorities. How many times do we have to say this? Prabhupada explains in his books, but the point is, are these persons really hearing his books? Many of them have been busy changing his books. That is a big problem, very big problem. I'm going to read a little section of a conversation of a letter from Srila Prabhupada. This is a conversation that took place in India, in Vrindavan, India, on August 29th, 1975. August 29th, 1975 in Vrindavan. Akshayananda. Preach more. Then that would help, because he was previously a principal of a school. Srila Prabhupada, so no, how is he preaching? Have you heard? No, you cannot understand in Hindi. Prabhupada Hindi. Srila Prabhupada, anyone. Dhananjaya, we have been told he preaches nicely. Srila Prabhupada, I've told him that you simply read my books and reproduce it. That's all. That will be preaching. Akshayananda, at least when he speaks to me in English, it is always very nice. Brahmananda, he can memorize Prabhupada's books and then just speak it. Srila Prabhupada, that is preaching. Our process is anusrunayat. We hear from the superior and reproduce it. That is shravanam kirtanam. Then perfect. If I had something, my own imagination, then it will spoil. No addition, alteration, as it is. As it is, you hear from your spiritual master, reproduce. That's all. Yara deka tarakaha Krishna Upadesha. This Krishna Upadesha is coming by parampara. So you reproduce. That's all. Even a child can reproduce what he has heard from his father. It is not at all difficult. So many people who claim that they understand Prabhupada's teachings, the first question is, why were you so busy after the departure of Srila Prabhupada dismantling his original books, his original teachings? Who authorized you to do that? Who gave you the authority to change his books? Under the plea of grammatical correctness, we see so much nonsense goes on. But yet such persons are thinking, oh, I was with Prabhupada. I really know what Prabhupada intended. Oh, I really know what Prabhupada really wanted. So much nonsense garbage, because they did not sufficiently hear. That's why Prabhupada says in the famous purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, unless one is enlightened by the knowledge given the spiritual master, he cannot see things as they are, even though he may remain constantly with the spiritual master. This whole living guru physical association idea. They forgot to hear. Therefore, they concoct that now I'm an associate like the Pandavas. Or really, you're like one of the Pandavas. Then how did you become such a big debauchee later? How? That they cannot explain. That they cannot explain. They think they know the mind of the pure devotee who is directly associated with Krishna, who is directly associated with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They think so many nonsense things, and nobody should hear from such persons. Nobody should listen to their nonsense explanations, as it is simply misleading. Very dangerous, very dangerous. One should avoid the association of such persons. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, to whom it may concern. Go ahead.
It concerns all of us because it is something that is very important for people aspiring to become Krishna conscious must follow. This is the principle of Guru Tattva. And the principle of Guru Tattva, just 1 second. Who's at the door?
I have a letter for Kim.
Could you just put it on the table there, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm just in a broadcast. Sorry, someone came to the front door. So this is relevant to all of us. And it is fundamentally the basis of our mission, is to simply repeat what we've heard from our spiritual master without any change. And although we're given privity, we're given the privilege to hear, like in this section, Yashodanandana Prabhu, we're hearing about Radha and Krishna. And it is a very personal explanation of their relationship. It's interesting to note that this gives us insight that there is a dynamic life of relationship in the spiritual realm that we're invited to qualify for through practice and service to our spiritual master. That this opportunity to understand this is given to the devotees of the Lord who are surrendered to the spiritual master and to Krishna. All the purports of the Vedic literature become revealed from within. So this is to give us insight, not, Prabhupada said, I was listening to a lecture Yashodanandana Prabhu yesterday, one should be careful not to jump ahead to Jugala Priti, think that they have become this intimate associate of Radha and Krishna. This leads to Sahajiism. It's a fake, pretender type spiritual person. Like some people we know, they also fake, when they go on kirtan, they're a guru, they're pretending to be guru, and then they're pretending to be like Lord Caitanya. They're dancing with a specific style and a specific grin on their face. And, it's not that profound to see that. It's very easy. You just look at them, you go, who is that person trying to imitate? Such a fraudulent person. And does not make reference to Prabhupada's teachings when they speak, simply uses the teachings to pretend that there's some kind of intimate devotee of Lord Caitanya. Very interesting. Third-class man becomes first-class man, Diksha Guru, and behind closed doors, who knows what goes on. Because Prabhupada has explained to us in the Nectar of Devotions, there are 5 relationships that we can enjoy in spiritual life as we progress along: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental humor, and conjugal love. You just don't all of a sudden jump there. And we as devotees are in the early stages of spiritual practice, carefully chanting our rounds every day, and studying Prabhupada's books every day. It's interesting to note, I was just speaking with Yashodanandana Prabhu, people don't read the books, therefore they don't have the connection to understand how Prabhupada is present in this sound. You have to practice it. His Vani incarnation. I was mentioning to my Prabhu, or my godbrother, that I'd finish reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm starting over with the Gita. I'm in the second chapter now. It's quite interesting because as we continue to practice this process, you get this understanding of the connection that you have with your guru because you're listening to him, not to other people. And you're getting an understanding from him if you carefully study his books, like we do with Yashodanandana Prabhu. He carefully takes us through this class program, and we study carefully every word, every transliteration, every verse, every paragraph, diligently. He has unlimited stamina for that. So it's quite wonderful for us to do this, to move forward this way. And if people are not chanting their rounds, we must chant every day. And if they're not reading the books every day or every second day or whatever, then it'll be difficult for them to understand what is the connection between disciple and guru. You have to practice it, Garuda. It's like a sensei in karate. This Khabib in Russia. He tells the people, you have to sacrifice your time. You have to give your focus. And in this way, you can become the champion. In this way, you become a bona fide disciple. It's not by reading and memorizing and then pretending, oh, I'm so advanced. This is not the way it works. And those that practice this diligently, all of us, the new devotees as well as the senior devotees, all have that obligation to follow it. These principles of sadhana bhakti. And this is the position of ourselves to remain servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to keep this knowledge in proper perspective. It's simple, common sense. Do not think, oh, I'm reading this, all of a sudden I become a personal associate of Radharani. All of a sudden I understand the transcendental pastimes of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. And I'm here in the material world, floundering along, trying to stay steady in devotional service. So stay humble, servant of the servant. Work with other devotees, cooperate with them to spread this mission. And in this way, Krishna and Prabhupada will bless us with transcendental understanding. And we won't fall into the trap of Sahajiism. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please.
I wanted to address a point that several
Yes.
devotees have asked me throughout our classes, because we read the Sanskrit text, the word for word, the translation, and we do this but with both Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. The people say, why do you do that? Why don't you just read the English and start talking? Well, let me just relate a personal incident that took place with me, and I've described this a few times, but I'll describe it again, maybe in a slightly different way. In
Yes.
1977, in May, I believe in the beginning, I had a chance for about 10 days to 2 weeks to spend 2 hours at night attending to His Divine Grace, massaging his feet, and while Prabhupada was going to bed. And many times during these sessions, Prabhupada would give me instructions. And on one of these, Prabhupada knew that a year earlier or 8 months earlier, he had told me to stay in the Gurukul and teach the children, specifically with chanting Brahma Samhita, Ishopanishad, and various Vedic mantras, and basically teach the children. So then we had elaborate, very lengthy discussion about how to teach. Prabhupada gave me instruction how to teach the children and devotees in general, how to handle the class, and how to study his books. Because many devotees have read the books, but Prabhupada was going a step further, how to study the books. The term that Prabhupada many times is scrutinizingly, which in English means a very detailed analysis, a critical approach, basically an analytical approach to study the books. Of course, in those days, we didn't have the computers, although they had computers back then. It was not quite sophisticated as we have today, that people can take a program, put a few words in a Sanskrit program or the database or prophetbooks.com or whatever, and get a wealth of different information from different lectures, different books, different conversations, letters. And Prabhupada's point was, let him recite the Sanskrit verse, you recite it, let him recite it. They should learn how to pronounce the Sanskrit properly. Prabhupada several times pointed out that many of our devotees, after years and years, still cannot pronounce the Sanskrit properly. Prabhupada makes sure they learn how to pronounce things properly. And I'm sure we have the same phenomena still today. And then Prabhupada said, with the word for word, you recite it, and then let him recite after you. If they say something wrong, you correct them.
Yeah.
Then you read the translation, then you read the entire purport, and then you start analyzing. Prabhupada said, let the children have a little notebook, just like in India, they send them with a little bamboo paper, a little notebook and a pencil. And then Prabhupada said, in my books, whenever there's a quotation, either Bengali or Sanskrit, or a few words that are listed, you write it down so they're familiar with the authoritative quotations that are given there. Next, if there's analogies or examples that are given in the purport, write it down. Then it says you make like a bullet list of various points of the major points in the purport. And at one point he says, just like in the Bhagavatam, in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, where's that verse, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavantiti Shabdyate, it says devotees should be expert to be able to present this, to explain this. Not simply to say, well, we've heard it in a book and it's there. No, people have to study it, be able to understand it and present it. And then Prabhupada said, what you do is then you can draw a list of questions and discuss the answers from the purport with the students. And if you do this, gradually people will learn how to study the books. He says you can do the same thing with Ishopanishad, Easy Journey to Other Planets, Perfection of Yoga, Beyond Birth and Death, Nectar of Devotion. All the books that have been written can systematically be studied in a systematic way so that devotees will be trained how to analyze the purport without all these, I mean, I relate to this, so many fanciful interpretations that have come up. I mean, because when we look at an issue, we have to look at all the angles. We cannot manufacture a crazy interpretation on the basis, well, I was appointed to such and such position by Prabhupada, and whatever I say is the absolute truth. And since you're not listening me because of my position, you're envious, you're a rascal, you're a demon, you're a fool. Well, this kind of mentality resulted in somebody being assassinated. This kind of fanatical madman interpretation just on the basis of physicality or somebody having a position. There's a difference between a managerial position and actual spiritual advancement and spiritual understanding. We have to be intelligent to see that. Now, we want to show respect to any devotees, especially devotees who took leading positions in a mission and did very valuable service for the mission. But that is no guarantee of spiritual understanding and spiritual realization. This has been seen. It's like the example we gave of that person claiming that we should accept them like the 5 Pandavas. The point is, are you the 5 Pandavas? Are you on that level? And we see so many different interpretations that have nothing to do with the original teachings. That's why this changing of the books, changing of the teachings is very insidious, very dangerous, and very contaminating. We cannot allow this. Anybody on this call, anybody listening to this, do not allow, don't fall for this propaganda, for this nonsense. No other Vaishnava Sampradaya in India ever changes the words of their original charya. It's never been done. It's still not done. And in our movement, they have no respect. They have no respect. They change and they try to justify it. I call it a grammatical embellishment project. Just like they have the LGEP, the Living Guru Experimental Project. They have so many different projects to try to justify their position. What we have to do is start to learn and listen to the Acharya without all the nonsense interpretations. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Well, that was excellent. And it was wonderful to hear that explanation, personal explanation from your experience of Prabhupada's methodology for studying and scrutinizingly reviewing the literature together. That's the function of this group, actually. And we have had other people say, oh, I'd just like you to just speak. Well, the idea is we're repeating what we've heard specifically from the books, and then all of us sharing our realizations together. And in this way, we get deep insight by association with others. This is called, the Prabhupada was mentioning it, it's called Siksha Guru. If people stressed Yashoda, this Diksha Guru process, Prabhupada wanted us all to become educated, Garuda Prabhu. Of course he did. So that we could help other people become educated on these principles of Guru Tattva. Simple. Simple for the simple, difficult for the crooked. There is motive behind these things amongst other godbrothers, just like in the case of the Gaudiya Math. Just see what happened. Such a wonderful movement. And Prabhupada goes, this great movement was destroyed by whimsical behavior. Now we have North American people joining a movement from various backgrounds, taking up the mission and pretending they've become these Paramahansas, Diksha Gurus. Where's the authority? Where does it say, if you read the books, Yashoda Prabhu, you know this, and Garuda Prabhu, you know this. You can read through the books, all of the books like we have. Do you see anywhere where Prabhupada said, and now we're going to appoint Diksha Gurus? Does he ever say that? Not once. I'm going to read the Gita again. I'm excited to read it. Is it in the Gita that it says, okay, and when you get to this point, you'll become Diksha Guru? You can put your name right at the bottom, underneath mine, A.C. Bhakti and Bhakta Das Das. I don't think so. It's absolutely unfortunate, very unfortunate. And this is what's going on, and this is important, Garuda Prabhu, I wanted to mention this to us. When you take, and Janas Priya, we're going to ask him to speak along with our panel here of Dharma Bhavana, Garuda, Caitanya, Nashringa, and Janas Priya. He uses this example quite often, and it comes from Prabhupada, of course. If you have milk and you add urine to it, can you use the milk to drink it? No. So when you take the system that Prabhupada gave us and you change it, you change the books. Where's the authority to change the books? There is none. This editing, okay, but the actual change of books from he has seen the truth to they have seen the truth, that is the most unfortunate exposure of these people that you could ever want. Why do they say they? To justify all them. If there's 152 so-called Diksha Gurus, they have to say they. They can't say he. So they changed the word. It's obvious. It's blatant. And then the other thing is they introduced a guru system where people could become Diksha Guru instead of understanding, be a Siksha Guru. Teach others, study, learn, associate with devotees, and enjoy the opportunity to get blessed by Krishna and by Srila Prabhupada by explaining this knowledge to others. Krishna explains that in the 18th chapter. Anyone who preaches this message to others, he will be blessed by me. And this is the system. It's a simple system. And you can all become guru, Siksha guru. Yes, Diksha guru, that's very dangerous. Oh, yes, it is. And just see what's happening, Guru to Prabhu. So many of our godbrothers, unfortunately, have become crippled. They were killed by different unfortunate circumstances. And you see the instant karma coming, like John Lennon said. Instant karma could get you. It's possible, even in this lifetime. So many people have suffered instant karma. Someone had his head beaten with a pipe in New Vrindavan, crushed his brain. Someone else had his head decapitated in England with just a regular knife, tortured to death like that. Someone was killed in an unfortunate car accident, leaving Mayapur, claiming that they were going to come back and be the guru of the movement, take over this. Everybody knows the story. We all know the story. It's not rumor. It's something we know. And I know people that heard him say it right to our face. Look what happened to my godbrother, but beautiful friend of mine, who came from India and showed up in America, and all of a sudden he got COVID and goodbye. Boom. Just like that. You see the pictures. He's like in shock. Are these just coincidence? Is this just by accident? Or is Krishna in charge? Of course, Krishna is in charge. And people that deviate from these principles that we're preaching, they are in that cloud of illusion that exists in what Prabhupada called the ISKCON movement, which has simply become Gaudiya Mat Part 2. Exactly that. Gaudiya Mat Part 2. And now it's becoming, as Yashoda said to me earlier, there's now a Gaudiya Mat Part 3. There's all these other splinter groups, and this thing has just gone into chaos. Let's ask Dharma Bhavana if he could mention his realizations tonight on the program with us in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Yeah, what happened, I was speaking to one of the new members who thinks I'm very advanced. And we got to speaking about a bona fide guru, and he mentioned how, well, you can't accept Prabhupada because he's not here. So we talked about it a little bit, that Prabhupada is present in his books. He's described to us that he's present so many ways, in transcendental, wonderful ways that are, beyond our imagination, and that the duty of a devotee is to help bring the new people to Prabhupada's lotus feet. And I was considering how this must be something like after Lord Chaitanya's appearance, they had the people were saying, "Oh, I'm part of Nityananda's family. I am very special." Or after Lord Krishna's appearance, I am part of the Yadu dynasty, and so on. There's kind of a constant theme going on over and over again, that if you present something transcendental and beautiful, it becomes watered down. And my friend had apparently just been to a kirtan retreat.
Yeah.
And they must be doubling down to forcefully present this doctrine that Prabhupada has lost all of his powers and potencies because he's not physically present. And so I've just kind of want to just comment upon that. We keep saying this over and over again, but it's actually what's taking place in the Vaishnava and spiritual communities, that other people are presenting forcefully that Prabhupada has lost all these powers. That I guess you call it Vakuvad or something. It's a new doctrine, and it's been going on long, but it's become more professionally presented right now. And you get a few thousand people there, you can get people easily to believe a lot of things. So that's all my comment. Thank you, Haribo.
That's very profound. Actually, you're right on with that. And reading the Gita again, Garuda, Prabhu, I'm seeing that I'm seeing that this battle of Kurukshetra between the Pandavas and the Kauravas is a fratricidal war. And what we have here now is the same thing. It is a war of words, of truth. And it is our duty to stand up and defend Prabhupada's legacy in his Vani incarnation and expose these people that are deviating from this philosophical point, so that the innocent people that are coming to this movement do not become lost in this confusion that's going on as a result of personal ambition, all due to a simple principle of one thing: false ego. That's all it is. You're in the material world, you want to be a great person, then jump on the back of this philosophy, become a guru, Diksha guru, be rich, be famous, get worshipped, and enjoy your life. There is no transcendental realization in this. This is just misrepresentation, misinformation of facts. Garuda Prabhu, if you could comment further.
Thank you, Vishwakarma-ji and Yashodanandan-ji, for lots of thoughts, and I've got a traffic jam in my head. So many things I could say, but let's go back to something you said right at the start, Vishwakarma-ji. We're not Ritwiks. We are all disciples of Prabhupada. And, this is such a beautiful, simple point, that no matter how you're teaching, no matter who becomes attached to you as a teacher, whatever the case, we are students of Prabhupada. But yet that seems to be so challenging for some devotees. As Yashodanandanji was saying, there are some people that go behind Prabhupada. They have to jump over Prabhupada and go to the Goswami literature as if they can read the Sanskrit, which they 99% of the time they cannot, or they rely on mediocre translations by a godbrother of mine, mediocre and even often incorrect, by the way. And then there are those that don't go behind Prabhupada, but they try to add things to Prabhupada, like some self-improvement books. Let me go to the self-improvement industry and try to, incorporate that, and go to some modern thinkers. And it's so simple. Focus on Prabhupada, and the way to do that. And I love how Yashodanandanji was talking about this deeper reading. We don't need to go broad; we need to go deep. And he was, of course, invoking the dialogue, the sacred dialogue, the Ramananda Samvadam with Mahaprabhu Gauranga, who Mahaprabhu kept telling him, go, this is bahya, this is external, go deeper. And he kept pushing him, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. So there's Vishwakarma reading the Bhagavad Gita again. Do you have any idea how many times he's probably read the Bhagavad Gita? He can read it again because he's going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And that, I believe, is what Yashodanandanji was talking about, was the ability to discover new treasures and jewels in these verses. And this is the great pleasure of focusing on the spiritual master's teachings, is that they're never worn out. We don't need to go beside the spiritual master, behind the spiritual master, above his head. These are ways to destroy your creeper. It's just that simple. Anyway, there's so many other things I could say, but I'm going to restrain myself and pass it on to others. My pranams to all Vaishnavas here.
Thank you very much. And it's very true that the Bhagavad Gita, if you have the right attitude in reading it submissively and humbly, it will reveal itself further and further into the spiritual world, because Prabhupada is the conduit. Actually, we read in Caitanya Charitamrita in the Anchalila, the last chapter, 6 Shastakam, that Prabhupada is the manifestation of Srila Vyasadeva for us. And he's proven it by his extensive purports on these literatures. And when you read the purports, they're the same as Krishna speaking, because it is Krishna speaking. The whole book is Krishna giving us a step-by-step direction on how to get out of this material world, which is, we're in a body of transition from birth to growth to duration to byproducts to deterioration and to death. Everyone, look at this thing, these fingers and this hand and this body of blood. And we think, oh, I'm so important, I'm such a big person. You're entombed in this body. You are. And if you accept yourself as the authority, then, which is the narcissistic way of the modern man, I am the authority of everything, you will be subjected to all the laws of karma that affect people that misbehave. And these reactions are very serious. For example, I'll stop here, but look at the way people eat these days. It is just absolutely atrocious. And the fast food industry is relentless on brainwashing people. They accuse us of brainwashing. Talk about brainwashing. This fast food industry brainwashes everyone to eat absolutely the wrong food. And this is the food of demons. There are two groups of people, Prabhus. There are devotees and there are demons. And this is a war against the demoniac mentality of the people of the Kali Yuga. And it is also a war against our God brothers who are spreading this demoniac mentality that Prabhupada does not live in his Vani incarnation. Only someone in a bag of blood, pus, and stool is living, and you should go follow them. This is complete, absolute insanity. I see our friend in Miami, Florida, Fort Lauderdale as well. Nilesh Sharma, you've got your hand up. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna to everybody.
Haribo. Haribo.
Very interesting points which come about. On one hand, we talk about Vapu, we talk about the body, and you say, and so does Yashodanandan Prabhu talk about it. But what are we students of? Are we students of this material world, or are we students of the transcendental sciences? And if we say that we are students of transcendental sciences, what does transcendental mean? If I were to ask one simple question to all these proponents who propose to follow a living guru, you are teaching what? Are you teaching material sciences or are you teaching transcendental sciences? And if you tell me you're teaching transcendental sciences and we claim that we are students of transcendental sciences, what is transcendental? The word transcendental means. It means beyond time, space, and matter. Anything which transcends these three platforms of time, space, and matter, then why should a physical body, which is a matter, come in between us? So if you truly are a transcendental science student, you should understand what student you are of. And then once you understand that, then why there should be a limitation associated with matter. And how can it be associated also with time? So if we are going to go beyond these three realms, then we got to delve a little deeper. And then what they're talking about is the difference between Diksha and Shiksha. What does a Diksha Guru do to us? A Diksha Guru is one who accepts our sins and gives us a clean slate and says, okay, here, I'm going to present you to Krishna. But who can present this stuff to us? Who can take away our sins? Who can present Krishna to us? Those who have had the realm of Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya, those who have received this particular benediction from the ocean of benediction, which is Krishna. Now, if they have not got that part, how can they give it to us? So we need to understand that at the end of all this, we are students of transcendence, and nothing on the material platform can stop us from associating with anybody or anything which is on the transcendental platform, which includes Srila Prabhupada. So don't limit yourself on physical matters. What you're holding, the books which we are discussing, why are you reading the the Bhagavad Gita for the nth time? What is the purpose behind us reading the Bhagavad Gita or the Bhagavatam or the Chaitanya Charitamrita repeatedly? Because these are transcendental subject matters. They go beyond time, space, and matter. And as we clean our hearts of all students of the world, we get a new realization. It is not because we are stupid. No, we are increasing our realizations by the purification which goes through, the purificatory process through which we go through by reading these transcendental books. And this is the point which we need to understand. That is why don't change the books. Why you don't want to change the books? Because these are transcendental books, sciences. Now, let me give you one last example before I quit. Is remember the story where there was a Brahmana who was illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approached this illiterate Brahmana saying, he would put the Bhagavad Gita in front of him and he would start tearing up just by looking at the cover picture of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he say? What? So I'm trying to read the Bhagavad Gita. Why? You're illiterate. He realized that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not making fun of him because other Brahmanas were making fun of him because look at this, he's illiterate. Now imagine if it was you or me, or especially me, I'm materially afflicted. If my Guru Maharaj told me, go read the Bhagavad Gita, and he knows I'm illiterate, what will be my first reaction to that statement? What? Are you making fun of me? I am illiterate and you're telling me to read the Bhagavad Gita. How am I going to read the Bhagavad Gita? Did that Brahmana tell that to his spiritual master? No. Why? Because the spiritual master belongs on a transcendental realm. Whatever he says is the representation of Krishna. So when he said, you read the Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to read the Bhagavad Gita. I know I'm illiterate, but I will just sit down and read the book. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that you have understood the real essence of the Bhagavad Gita by just looking at the cover picture. So not even changing the cover picture of the Bhagavad Gita has a transcendental importance to all this. Do we have the vision and understanding to realize this depth which Prabhupada has left behind? I'll just leave that for everybody to consider this and stop here. Hare Krishna. I would love to know what Yashodananda Prabhu has to say.
We'll move forward with that. Chaitanya Nrsinga, maybe you could share some insights as we move towards the end of the program.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble. This is all Guru Sri Prabhupada.
Haribol.
So I just want to highlight a point that you made, Prabhu, Vishwakarma Prabhu made about reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Actually, too many times in my experience was that hearing lectures by senior devotees and not giving the importance to hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures. And that was that was a turning point eventually for me, where I was not giving importance to hearing from Srila Prabhupada, but hearing from senior devotees. And and then there was a point where I wasn't even listening to Srila Prabhupada at all. And you can feel a disconnection. And the idea that that was created is that you can only go to Srila Prabhupada through us, the senior devotees. We are highly advanced devotees. Or the concoction is, they don't directly say that, but it subtly, and you can hear it in the tone. And when I stopped completely and just read Srila Prabhupada's books and hear Srila Prabhupada's transcendental words in his lectures, everything changed. And the importance that is the basic, I feel, that too many times devotees forget, that association of pure devotee is the most important thing that we can treasure in our this 70, 80, 90 years of lifespan that we have. I'm 41. This is the time. If you can do this right now, maybe at the end of the lifetime, maybe the final exam we can pass and remember the pure devotee, remember Supreme Personality of Godhead, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chant Hare Krishna all the way till the end of life. And I feel that's the most important thing that takeaway is that we can have every day. Read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. Wake up early and chant 16 rounds. So Hare
yes,
Krishna,
Prabhu. Well, it's very interesting. I discuss it with Yashodanandana Prabhu. It appears that a lot of people minimize this process for whatever reason. And I've had people tell me that, oh, you don't need to chant your rounds anymore, or you don't have to shave your head, or you don't have to wear tilak, and you don't have to, represent at all. There's one person exactly in America who started a group called Krishna West. Now, I challenged him to go and to imagine if we were in Mayapur in 1974. Myself and Yashoda Garudam was there. I was in 1974 in Mayapur. It was a very interesting time. And it was moving to the heyday of the mission for Prabhupada. It was him bringing all his disciples back to India. And they would have the annual Mayapur meetings, which we were all attending, some part of it. The presidents weren't really given much position back then. It was all top-heavy management of these so-called leaders. But nonetheless, I challenged Hridayananda, would you have dared to walk into Prabhupada's room in 1974, no neck beads, no tilak, no sika, no danda, no japa beads, and see what kind of reaction you would have got from Prabhupada if you did that? Can you imagine, Garuda, him doing that? What could he say? Oh, I'll do it. Yeah, he's pretending now and speaking now with no realization. Guru means realized, not imitate. This is a mistake. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could give us a last few words.
Well, I think these discussions are very important. And I want to point out, again,
Yes.
because many devotees tend to misinterpret these discussions as personal attacks on certain people. No, we're not interested in personal attacks or personally blaspheming or falsely criticizing anybody. The reason we discuss these issues and these points is that we want to make sure that we understand, first of all, Prabhupada's teachings to the best of our ability, as well as basically give the chance to other devotees to understand the philosophy. Because Srila Prabhupada's teachings are very deep, and it's up to any devotee to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the teachings. It does not depend upon any kind of material position or so-called seniority. Somebody may be junior devotee, yet have a much deeper and a much more important realization than somebody who's so-called senior by age or senior by initiation. Senior, we have seen this seniority has been exploited to create a sense of elitism, a sense of exclusivity. People claiming, oh, I was initiated before this devotee, that devotee, or I had such and such position. Okay, well, we've seen all different kinds of madness and deviations going on, even in the name of this so-called seniority. If seniority was a guarantee for spiritual advancement, then there would not be all this madness going around. So we have to learn to go deep in Prabhupada's teaching on any topic, whether it's the topic of initiation or Guru Tattva or the original books or the original teachings, how to offer Bhoga, how to offer Artik. There are so many different topics. It's up to us as devotees and servants of Srila Prabhupada to go and acquaint ourselves and study all these different definitions that Prabhupada is talking about. For example, people talk about living guru. Well, wait a minute. How does Prabhupada define that? How does Prabhupada explain that? How does Prabhupada explain the word initiation, initiated? Why not take the time to properly study and analyze all these statements? Then there can be an intelligent, fruitful, progressive discussion rather than a fanatical political exchange. Very important point. I hope that point comes across. Hare Krishna.
Yes, very valuable. And the fact of the matter is that spiritual life is enhanced by association of the spiritual master and the bona fide disciples. And that's what we're experiencing with this group, that with all of you contributing to the information and confirming it, that we're all inspired to carry on with this process of fighting Maya, overcoming all kinds of difficulties that we encounter in our lives, and standing up and defending Prabhupada's legacy and serving the spiritual master in his Vani incarnation. So thank you, everyone, for your participation again tonight. And this is part of our YouTube channel. And we have over, Garuda, we have over 275 programs now. 275. And a lot of our friends, our God brothers, God sisters, they enjoy to go back and listen to them. You can hear some of the classes. You can listen to Prabhupada's lectures, which we all do all the time. I know all of us are. And continue to study the books, chant your rounds. And in this way, you start to feel blissful. There is such a thing as transcendental happiness. And we shouldn't be discouraged that things have deteriorated the way they have. We can build back again, Prabhu, Nilesh Sharma. I'm 100% convinced if the president of El Salvador can rebuild his country in 5 years from the most dangerous country in the world to the safest, we can rebuild this movement back to its glory in due course of time by working together. It is possible, absolutely possible. We simply have to join hands and work together to do it, and Krishna will bless us. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And the Sankirtan movement of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, and we're going to listen to Prabhupada chant and lead the kirtan, playing on the bongo. How wonderful. It sounds gorgeous. Prabhupada was an amazing kirtan leader.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in the program. Thank Venkat Bhatta Prabhu for his kindly managing the program tonight. Nilesh Prabhu with your comments. Garuda Prabhu for your various comments and insights, and all the devotees who are part of this program, Caitanya, Nishinga Prabhu, everybody else. Thank you. We hope to see you on Saturday morning for the Srimad Bhagavad Gita class at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to Tamik, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time or Hamilton, Ontario time. Just a little reminder, we are getting geared up to accept offerings for Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja offering, which is going to take place in the 3rd or 4th week of August of 2024. If anybody has any offering, regardless of how simple or how long it may be, it doesn't matter. We will get it published. It can be sent to my attention at yasoda1008@yahoo.com. That's YASODA1008@yahoo.com, or at Vishwakarma Prabhu at bobbyhebert@gmail.com. That's BOBBYHEBERT@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to see you on Saturday morning. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.